Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Kenton Wakes Up. I'm Dr. Kenton. It's Thursday, December 5th, 2024. How are you? Showing you the whole Seattle coffee mug that I bought when I was in the Seattle airport one time. What was that? Okay. Crisis averted. It's just a piece of junk that fell to the floor. No worries. Today is Thursday, December 5th, 2024. In the cup today, that's Barissimo. I don't know what the name, all it has written on the label is German roasted, medium. Got it from Aldi's. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. I wouldn't give up my top favorite for it, but it's pretty good. So today is Thursday, ordinarily day that I would drive to Towson to have a lunch meeting with my friends, but today I can't. I got stuff I need to do, errands and whatnot, grading. Just trying to head off the anxiety that will come if I don't take care of it with alacrity. Last night was last episode of my fall 24 class on assessment. Next week is when the students give their final presentations. So another one in the books. As one of the consistent topics in the second half of the semester was information about large language models and AI. And during last night's conversation, there was a little bit of, I don't know what to say. In one of the articles, they talked about the fact that sometimes the model would provide extraneous feedback that was incorrect. And that would be distracting to a novice recipient, which is probably true. When you get, as a novice, if you are interested in receiving feedback that will potentially help you, if that feedback then has issues, it can be distracting. That's true. Now, the question is, should you stop using the large language model to generate the feedback? And my argument was, perhaps it's at least as valuable to help somebody learn how to avoid the hallucinations. That's what they call the extra stuff that a large language model generates. It's not really relevant to the original topic. Might be just as easy or just as valuable to encourage somebody how to ignore the hallucinations than to just throw the whole thing in the garbage. And I suggested that maybe you could think about it this way, where maybe that you imagine there's a person who's like the world's foremost expert on insert topic name. Whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. A branch of science, a sub-branch of human interaction, a whatever. Just the problem, let's just say the problem is in the area that you're most interested in, just to increase the potential that you might understand this in the way that I intended to be understood. And that this foremost expert is so popular and so sought out that people would travel for miles and devote large bits of attention and energy and resources like money and time to getting just into the same room, not even having a private conversation, but just in the same room. That a person might understand it that way. There's this person who's so sought out on this particular topic, the topic that it just so happens it's the topic that you are super excited about. Now, the issue is that when this person talks, they talk fluidly and lucidly, and just virtually every word that comes out of their mouth is enlightening and insightful and helpful to understanding how your particular topic area relates to any other particular topic area. Except maybe once every time the person gives a speech, there's a period, and it doesn't matter how long it is, really, for the point I'm trying to make, that the person starts talking about hard-boiled eggs with a fervor and excitement that matches only the fervor and excitement of their area of expertise. Now, what do you do about those comments about hard-boiled eggs? Do you look at them as something that points out an underlying psychosis in this person, or latent insanity, or some other attribute that would be immediately disqualifying when it comes to talking about the value and contribution of this person's understanding of their particular content area? Does the commentary about hard-boiled eggs outweigh their otherwise indisputed expertise? And my suggestion was, sometimes once you know that a person has a foible, you learn to ignore it. Maybe to the detriment. If you then throw your filter too wide and you stop ignoring more than just the initial foible, then you start to cover up for problematic comments. But I don't know that hard-boiled eggs are problematic. You can correct me if you find that I'm wrong. The thing is, my larger point was, you might learn to just let the person talk about the hard-boiled eggs, because eventually they always come back to the original topic. They may not even be aware that they're doing it. And pointing it out to them just makes them confused and upset. I don't know what hard-boiled eggs has to do with this conversation we're trying to have. So, I guess my issue is, if you find a resource that's valuable, extol the virtues of the value, rather than trying to find a reason to undercut the value based on something that's irrelevant or largely irrelevant. I'm not a perfect person. There are things that I feel and do and believe and say that people probably wish I wouldn't. But that doesn't undercut the rest of the stuff that I do. I make sure that everybody has enough to eat. That's probably pretty useful. I make sure that people feel comfortable when they come visit my house. That's probably important. The fact that I happen to believe that an archbishop in Switzerland got assigned his own, what would it be? They call it, in German, they call it an Erzbischoftum, archbishopric. I don't know what the word is in English. Erzbischoftum. That they took a guy who was hugely unpopular, and they created a new archbishop diocese for this person to oversee. And then when the person reached 75 and had to retire, they accepted the resignation, and the guy's now retired. And that Archbishop diocese that was created doesn't have a leader anymore. So to me, that means they wanted to sort of, you know how you hear about people getting kicked upstairs? So as to get them into a position where they're largely able to be silenced because they're pretty far up the chain. But when you don't have anybody beneath you and you have just the guy at the very, 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 very top to answer to, maybe just let that guy have his little 100 square miles or whatever until he turns 75, and then he can accept his resignation. And then, he'll be in his retirement, his whatever. All those things on one side, trying to be a useful citizen and a helpful friend, versus my feelings of whatever it is. Why am I curious about this guy? Why do I want to know what the conversations were that led up to the decision to move this guy from his previous position into a position of basically where he couldn't cause any more harm? I mean, I guess in the church infrastructure, they don't fire people who are in the upper echelons of, you can't make a guy a cardinal, so, and he's already an archbishop, so you can't probably ask him to take a demotion, so you got to find another way. Anyway, and just to be candid, it's not something that I just, in the year 2000, or year 2010, or whenever it was that it's not that moment that brought this guy to my attention. It was back in 1990 when this guy was elevated from his position into an archbishop position without any consideration from the I don't know what anyway, you have the laity, and then you have the pastors or the priests. So they elevated this guy. That was contentious. The people spoke out about it. The people resisted him even being installed. There's stories about it. It doesn't matter who the person is, but it's not a hallucination. It's not just a single hallucination. If it is one, it's a complicated. So why does it matter to me? I don't know. I don't think it interferes with the normal course of events. But if it turns out that this is something that people have to ignore about me, then I'll get back. All right, so Thursday is ordinarily a day that I'd go to Towson. I'm not going to do that today. The weather, no, I'm not afraid of the weather. I'm afraid of how the weather makes other people in their adventures, and I don't want to be involved in that. I also have some sort of meeting at 3 online, so we're just going to take a pause. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I've got plenty to do as soon as this thing's posted. And just remember, always, love you, bye.